I was on a TikTok live with a panel full of Donald Trump supporters, and I announced with my full chest that I was ashamed of my country. And I don't regret saying it for a minute. I gave them reasons why I was ashamed. Ashamed mainly because we have a president that started a nonsensical war that we are not winning, regardless of how Donald Trump wants to say it. And not to mention the lie that somehow we're going through peace talks, that Iran is close to surrendering. No, they're not. I'm ashamed of the fact that I have to believe a foreign nation's propaganda rather than the lies coming from Donald Trump. I was all my reasons, beyond the gas prices, which for me in my city are almost $4 now. I named all the reasons why I am ashamed of my country. And their response isn't to try to convince me that I was wrong. Try to convince me that you should still be proud of your country. You shouldn't be ashamed of your country, even if Donald Trump was president. No, all of them wanted to browbeat me and rake me over the coals because they love Donald Trump. They are so entranced with this man. They're entranced with a man that got 16 of the members of our military killed in a nonsensical war that they should not have died in. He has wrecked this nation's economy to the point that it is going to take years, perhaps decades, to repair. He is getting closer and closer to writing up legislations that will gut the Voting Rights Act and the Voting Rights Bills. He is getting closer and closer to tearing this country apart. And the likelihood of a 9/11 style terrorist attack is unfortunately high. That's not me being hyperbolic. That's not me fear-mongering. That's me telling the truth. Right now, we are not the world's favorite nation. We're not the world's favorite nation anymore. We are now a rogue nation. Thanks to Donald Trump, who has broken every one of his promises. But the real shame beyond Donald Trump that I feel is a shame reserved for his supporters, the MAGA. I bring up every promise Donald Trump made, from no new wars to prices will be low again. Every promise Donald Trump has made, I bring up to these people, and none of them care. Or they make rationalizations for it. So gas is a little high. It's not going to break your wallet. Gas is a little high. It's not going to hurt you. Gas is a little high. Who cares? We're taking down the Iranian leadership. I mean, they rationalize everything this man has done. It's gotten to this stage where he can be, all right, let me think, Bruce Willis as John McClane in Die Hard with a Vengeance, walking around the streets of Harlem with a sign around his neck saying, "I hate black people," only replace the phrase black people with the N-word. And they'll make an excuse for that. None of this is normal. It's not normal for a president to have an entire weekend where one day he's happy that an American citizen, a man who has a lifetime of service, Robert Mueller I'm speaking of, being happy that a man like him is dead, and then the next day calling half the country because of a political affiliation the enemy. It's not normal for having a cabinet full of sycophants like P. Hegseth, Secretary of War, his Vice President, J.D. Vance, Mark Wayne Mullen, who not too long ago was confirmed as a new Homeland Security Secretary, who's going to fail at the job. No question about that. It's not normal. This is not normal at all for the level of animosity that Donald Trump has created inside this country and outside this country. That is why I'm ashamed. Now I've had moments where I didn't like what was going on, where things were not the way I wanted them to be. I think they should be. But in the past, we would talk about that. We would actually make efforts to change that, not by force, but by politics, by diplomacy. Now, it's gotten to the stage that disagreeing with Donald Trump makes me the enemy. Not only am I wrong in their eyes, but I must be destroyed. And another thing, these guys kept talking about their military service and everything else. Let's make one thing clear. I never served in the military, but I have family. I've had family in my extended family, including my father, who did serve in the U.S. military. And I honor their service. I have friends currently, I have friends currently serving in the military. And truth be told, despite their allegiance, the oath they took, they agree with me. They hate what's happened to this country, and they are ashamed as well. I forget which president said this. I want to say it was Roosevelt, but I might be wrong. In case I'm wrong, I apologize. But I believe it was said that staying by your government doesn't mean staying by the president. Yeah, I voted for Obama, and I stood by him, and I support him, but I did call him out when he was wrong. To this point, I have yet to hear a die-hard MAGA say he was wrong. I've yet to hear any kind of sympathy for the families that have lost loved ones in this war. The one-on-one excuse I keep hearing is they know what they signed on for. They didn't sign on to die for Donald Trump. No. Let's get that straight right goddamn now. But I feel so humiliated and such shame for my country. But then the last thing I want to talk about before I close out this video is when I said this, all of them told me that I should pack my bags and leave. One of them actually threatened to call ICE to have me deported, forgetting the fact that I was born here in the USA. My father and my mother born in the USA. Forget the fact that was the stupidest thing and the stupidest threat you could push on someone. I don't run for my fights. I don't run because things get hard. That's a move I reserve for Donald Trump because honestly, like all bullies, he's a specialist in that. See, I actually face the problems. I actually work to solve the problems. Now, I'm not going to use my stroke as some sort of a way to get sympathy. But then, when my stroke hit, I had to make a choice. When I left the hospital, after I left the 2 weeks of rehab, before I started outpatient rehabilitation, I had to make the choice. Was I going to be an invalid the rest of my life? Laying on the couch, laying in bed, not working for the rest of my life? Or was I going to get my ass up and go to work? Put the work in. Go to therapy 2 or 3 times a day. Spend the rest of the week working out on my own, strengthening myself. I had to make that choice. If I did what some of these idiots suggested I did, we just leave the country and not fight to change things the way they are, not fight against what Donald Trump is doing, I'd still be in that goddamn hospital bed right now. Truth be told, if you want to be 100%, if I want to be 100% honest with you, chances are I might actually have, I may have died if I didn't start working on myself. I may have actually given up. I mean, really given up. There's a word for that. I can't say it on YouTube because YouTube rules. But let's say I would have done self-annihilation. Now, that thought never even entered my mind when I started to get back. And guess what? I'm walking. Some forms I'm running. I'm working out. I have my job. I'm still on the job. Matter of fact, I've been back on the job for almost a full year now. I'm driving my own car. I'm walking around in my city. I'm going out. Hell, I'm going back to the movies, for God's sake. Now that the summer movie season has started, well, technically it's still spring, but I'm going back to the movies. I'm living my life. Regardless of the bullshit that's happening in this country, I'm living my life. So if I were to take the advice of a bunch of malcontent, mouth-breathing MAGA morons, I might as well still have stayed in that hospital and died a day by day by day. But that was not going to happen. Not only because of the efforts of my family and my doctors, but because I don't give up. I don't run. I don't turn coward when shit hits the fan. I go to work. I do what I gotta do to make things right. I do what I gotta do to make myself and everything around me strong. I'm not a coward. Those who tell me to leave, you're the coward. Those who step by and let this happen, knowing full well that it's wrong, you're the cowards. Those who make rationalizations for what Trump is doing to our country, knowing full well how much it's damaging it, you're the cowards. I'm no coward. And before some asshole out there says that I'm trying to start up some sort of insurrection or making threats, no, I'm not. I'm telling you the straight up truth of what I plan to do. The midterms are this year, and I don't give a damn if I have to stay in line for 5 hours, either by early voting or going on election day in November. I'm going to make my fucking voice heard. For between now and November, and after that, regardless of the results. So, you've been warned. Get ready for a long fucking ride, courtesy of me. Because Trump does not get to win that easily by me losing it. Losing my life and me laying down or dying, or me running off to another nation. He's got a fight on his hands. And let me tell you something. He is going to lose. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.